this is DrumWise Meets. Today I'm with top drummer and educator Pete Riley. Hi Pete.
Hi Tom.
Okay, so my first question is, what equipment are you currently using?
So the setup here, well, pretty much all the drums in the studio are Yamaha recording custom drums. A couple of Ludwig snares, but this is one of the later recording custom kits. Not the recent one, but it's about 12, 15 years old with the Yes mounts on it. And then I've got an older green kit, which is from about 1980, which is the earlier kit. But the shells and the drums are essentially the same thing. And then all Zildjian cymbals, pretty much all A's on this kit. And sort of 18, 19, 10, 23, 19 and a 20-inch crash, and this stack around the other side, which is a sort of Weckel thing with a 18-inch crash with a china on. 2 pairs of hats, so I've got a pair of closed hats over there. And the drum sizes, you can't seem to tell, but they're quite big in terms of, as I say, that's a 23-inch ride cymbal, and so the toms are 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 18 on the floor toms. I've got a 14-inch tom here and a 24-inch bass drum. So they're sort of, the sizes are sort of one size up from what you'd normally see when you see people with 3 rack toms, which would be a 22, 8, 10, 12, yeah.
Cool. And it is a lovely looking and sounding kit.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's lots of it, but the core of it, I just think of as a 5-piece kit, 12, 13, 15, with 2 crashes, and then, anything else is just added on to that, really.
So what age did you start drumming, and what bands did you grow up listening to? Okay,
I started drumming age 15 because I played trumpet and cornet prior to that, and so I was playing in a brass band, and just figured the drums sounded so much better than playing cornet. So, and also my friends at the time were listening to it. I'm from the Midlands originally. They like their heavy rock up there, and so I grew up listening to, Deep Purple and Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, and so, he played guitar as well, this friend of mine, and so listening to that music. Soon we were playing together in a band, and that's where it all started. So, but the playing the cornet and trumpet became an advantage because I got up to about grade 5 theory, and so when I moved to drums and I started buying drum books, I could find my way through drum books and read well enough to get through them when I started. Yeah.
Excellent. Interesting, actually. I didn't know that and about you, and I started with cornet as well. So
it seems to be a thing amongst drummers.
Yeah.
I was just talking to James Hester earlier from BIM, and he did the same. And there's another drummer he was talking about that did the same. So I don't think it's not uncommon. Yeah.
I remember learning the theory for that, all the note values and stuff, and just being really bored by it. I just remember it being so boring. But then when fast forward many years, when it was drums, I just didn't find it boring at all. And it was the same theory, crotchets, quavers, semiquavers, but I could relate it better. So I don't know, just something inside me that was kind of more towards drums.
I think you whatever instrument you play, you've got to have that fundamental interest in what you're doing. I don't think, not at any point has anyone, have I needed any encouragement to sit here and practice. It's just what I want to do and always have. So, and I think if you've got that, then as you say, learning stuff is just so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So probably quite a hard question. Do you have an all-time favorite drummer? If you could just pick one.
Ooh, well, that is pretty tough. I guess Simon Phillips would probably be up there. I love his sound and his playing, his musicality. Yeah, it's tricky, very tricky, you know, because there'd be a few close second and thirds with Terry Bozzio, Vinnie Colaiuta, David Weckl. Yeah, but I think Simon Phillips has, possibly had the most influence. I'm not sure. Yeah,
It is a tough one. I couldn't give one. I think I'd have to give a list of 5. So
yeah,
kind of what I was expecting. That's cool. What's the highlight of your career so far?
Wow. I think
playing or teaching, I suppose.
I think one thing that always sticks in my memory was the first gig I did with Republica, which was Tea in the Park in Scotland. And I think there was something like 30,000 people. And I remember Saffron saying, "Say hello to our new drummer." And 30,000 people went, "Ah." That was great. Yeah. Just in terms of one of those sort of rock and roll things. But I think, and then I think another thing would be the touring in the States I did with Keith Emerson, because I think every drummer, I think that's probably perhaps a little unfair, but I think most musicians, when they start to play, certainly I did, the bit of a dream is being on a tour bus going across the States, and we were out there for about 2 months one time, and then a month after doing the East Coast. So yeah, good memories of both of those. Yeah.
When you first get a gig with a new artist, how do you learn the songs? So do you write them out? Do you listen to them on Spotify or whatever? Do you get given the charts? Oh, here you go, Pete. Here's all the charts to the entire set list for you to just sit down and read.
Yeah, the last one, I really wish on certain gigs that I've done where I'm depping, I really wish there were charts. But like the recent things I've done with ABC and Tony Hadley, there haven't been. And for the amount of work that I was initially offered with both of those, I couldn't justify spending the time learning it. It's far more effective for me, time-wise, to write those out and to chart them out myself and read them on the gig. And also because I could hear, certainly, I just sensed on those gigs from the live recordings I'd been given that so many of the parts were really crucial parts for the rest of the band to hear in terms of specific fills and things as well. So those I charted out. Whereas a tour I did at the end of, not last year, the year before, like a more fusion-y sort of thing, I specifically avoided writing any charts because I knew it was much more of a playing gig, and there were these really complex arrangements, and I just had to commit the material to memory because I knew it just wouldn't be the sort of thing that you just read a chart through top to bottom. There would be lots more open sections and things like that, and so I just had to learn them. So I guess the short answer would be it would depend on the gig.
What made you start teaching, and when did you start?
I think I started probably a few years after studying with Bob Armstrong, and I just had a real enthusiasm for just drums and I guess just passing that sort of stuff on. And because I found that it had such an impact on my playing, I guess I just wanted to pass that on. And so yeah, so that was fairly early on, maybe actually probably mid-20s. And then when I was about 28, I think I got the teaching position at ACM, where I stayed for about 20 years. And but all the way along, but certainly more so since I've been here, which is nearly 20 years. Yeah, I've done the private teaching as well, but never with a view to doing just that. I find that there's an amount of it, a ratio between playing and everything else that I try and find with it. And because I need for there to be that same sort of enthusiasm that was there initially to do it. And I think if I was just doing that, that would be, the imbalance would affect that.
How do you motivate your students to practice?
You know, practicing it's a tricky thing, especially as you get older, or because you've got more responsibilities and it's harder to find the time. And perhaps if you're younger, you've got more distractions with social media and games and TV and what have you. And so I think motivating to practice, I think sometimes you can be a little overwhelmed by how much stuff you've got to practice, or how far you think you want to get, and it feels like a bit overwhelming. And so I actually find now that I'm not doing quite a bit of practice at the minute, as probably most of us are, because we're stuck in lockdown. But I used to have this mindset, because I used to do ridiculous hours, like 6-8 hours a day. And I used to have this mindset, if you're not doing that, oh, it's not worth it. But now I actually think just sitting down for half an hour, you can make some progress. And so I think in terms of the motivation, I think just try and do something. And just sort of, I'm going to play through this, I'm going to run these exercises for 20 minutes, just do one thing. And I think just achieving that one thing can affect your impression of how the practice has gone and how your playing is going.
Yeah.
So breaking it down into smaller pieces, really, instead of being overwhelmed by this sort of big picture. So
you'd agree with the whole, you know, if I've got a student coming along and I kind of can see that they don't practice, so I say, okay, look, just get on your kit for 20 minutes, you know, just get on there and just play through your exam pieces or whatever, you know, 20 minutes is so much better than sitting down for like 5 hours trying to nail it, because your concentration, for most people probably, kind of starts to go then. Yeah,
I mean, that's another aspect of practice and how we assimilate information. The brain is far more effective in taking information on in small, regular chunks. So you're far better off doing, let's say, if doing 1 hour a day, 6 days a week, than trying to do 6 hours in one day. You'll make far more progress on those 1 hour sessions, because your brain just gradually absorbs all that muscle memory and everything. What do you find that students struggle most with, if you could like generalize it? Is there a specific topic, or, you know, independence or rudiment? I think something that just frustrates me, I guess you could aim it at students, is when you've shown something to a student that they don't take it any further or do anything else with it, and they just sort of see the thing that you gave them on the bit of paper, and they almost just don't see the connection with anything else. With my students, I don't really do pieces of music. It's more technique, phrasing, and sort of general things. But, you know, rarely does a student come back and go, oh, I did that thing you showed me on the kit, and then I found if I did it this way round, I got this. And then if I put the bass drum in there, and so I guess the thing that frustrates me is just the lack of imagination with that stuff, and which I just assume, you know, if you're going to do something creative like make music, that is going to be there, but sometimes it isn't. What sort of person does it take to be a good drum teacher? So like, what qualities do you have to have, do you think, to be a good teacher rather than a good player? Because I believe it's two very different things. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's obvious, but you need to have a degree of competency on the instrument. But I also think you need to be able to deconstruct things in a way, and have some different perspectives for teaching different students the same thing. Because often you'll find different students take to certain things more easily. And so sometimes I think you need that ability to switch, see where an issue might be, and switch and go from a different angle. And so you arrive at the same point, but you've taken a different route. And yeah, I think the experience thing is a big part of it as well, though, because, you know, so you've experienced that process too, the time it takes, the frustration, and also I think just that general sort of empathy for someone sitting in the same room with you, struggling with something, and being able to get a sense of what they're dealing with and what the issue might be. So in other words, just making them comfortable and removing things that are perhaps obstructing that, whether it's you've asked too much of them, or they're self-conscious, or, you know, it might even be it's a bit too much. You're like, okay, I'm just going to grab a cup of tea. I'll leave you with that and all they want is 5 minutes on their own. I think things like that. So it's having that, yeah, like I say, that empathy for feeling what the student is dealing with.
I'll just throw this one in, actually. I haven't written this one, but just thinking about kind of what's going on with me right now with these virtual lessons. Yeah. I've got a few students who are just really struggling with, for example, their technique on their doubles, and they just cannot, you know, get past that barrier. You know, they're at that point where they're trying to get the fingers involved and they just can't. And I'm always saying, look, you just got to just try it a bit, take a break, come back. You know, just the main thing is you just got to just keep battling away at it and not get frustrated, because I've got certain students who get very annoyed and you know. So what would your advice be there for someone that's struggling with something like that?
What I try and do is give them something else that actually utilizes that technique, but isn't what you're doing. And so again, it's that thing of you start to head towards the same goal, but via a different route. So if it's double strokes, I don't know, I mean, loads of exercises spring to mind, but I would have them doing and also doing something that, you know, for example, like double strokes, if we're doing it on a pad or something, it's 7-stroke rolls or it's 9s, or it can feel a bit tedious. But if you then change the context of it, that just sounds a bit more hip or a little bit more like a fill or something like that, it just creates that bit more interest, and I think perhaps engages them a bit more. And so I think I guess it's a distraction technique, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
You're getting them working on the same thing, but with a different path. Yeah.
Now moving away from the teaching side of things, I know one of the answers here, which I'm very jealous about. What are your hobbies away from drumming?
Hobbies. Two main things: my cars, Italian cars, and running. And a bit frustrating at the minute, in so much as I can't actually get out in the cars and drive them. So they're through that window there, or a couple of them anyway. And it's and the running. I like the running as it's, you know, you can find you have certain days where you may not have even left the house, and so it's nice just in the evening to get out for half an hour, even if the weather's miserable, and but just to get out of the house, and it kind of clears the mind a little bit. So yeah, those are my two things really.
And how's the new Ferrari coming along? I saw the engine.
Yeah, it's okay. If you bear with me, I just need to do that, and it's. Oh, let me turn that the other way. There it is. So that's the Dino nearest with a cover on top of it, and it's in the back there. It's cleaning up nicely, having not been cleaned for about 28 years or something. So and it's running great, new tires and everything, and I just can't. I'm not allowed to go and use it. So a bit frustrating.
And
first world problems though.
And and the main mod that you just done, your new ashtray. I mean, you know.
Oh, you spotted that? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Which obviously makes the car run so much better.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially for a non-smoker. Yeah, it's great.
I'll never use it. Yeah, but it looks better. Yeah. But no, I love the cars. I've always had that. Well, Ferraris really. You know, since since I don't know, late teens or something. Yeah. But planes, trains, cars, engineering was always, I've always loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I've just recently bought I've always been into VWs, so I've got myself a Caravelle. But it's the edition 25, so it's the limited edition one. It's got all the toys, and I've just been slowly playing with that. It's great for gigs though. Oh, made my life so much easier.
Oh, right.
It's got the electric sliding doors as well on the sides, so I can just walk up to it and press a button and the doors open, just chuck my stuff. Right.
Yeah. No, I can't get any drums in any of mine. You know?
No. A few years ago, I bought
a drum and a pair of sticks. But...
a few years ago, well, a very long time ago, I bought a Nissan 300 ZX, and I got it home, and then I was like, hang on. I literally hadn't thought this through. I was like, how am I going to get my drums in this? Like, it was what a stupid thing. So I bought another, like a really old Peugeot estate to have as well.
Yeah, I've got an Audi estate. I have to have an estate. We've got a dog as well. So you've got to have a drum and dog vehicle. So yeah.
Absolutely. What sort of person do you think you need to be to successfully work in the music industry?
A likable one. Mm-hmm. I think being someone that people like being around is important, and I think you've got to be someone it's the cliche of being able to roll with the punches in terms of dealing with the lows and the challenges, of which there'll be many. As well as there's the plus side of being a self-employed musician as well, but it does have its challenges as well. And I also think that you've got to be someone that's ready to work hard and be ready for what it throws at you.
Probably the most important question right now: what's your favourite biscuit?
Aldi's do a fantastic triple chocolate cookie. Their Italian coffee is very good as well, but they do this chocolate biscuit. Oh man, there's a little bit of coconut in there. They're fantastic. Yeah. With a cup of coffee. Yeah, that's the best.
Oh, that was going to be my next question. So maybe not for coffee. I was going to say, are you a dunker? But
I don't actually with those. I just don't want to risk it dropping in the coffee. So they're too good to be fishing around with a spoon. So Aldi's Italian coffee with their triple chocolate biscuit. Yeah.
When you say their Italian coffee, are we talking the pods or are we talking
the coffee beans?
Oh, yeah. Beans. Okay.
Because we've got a bean to cup machine we've had for a couple of years now, and Aldi's Italian coffee, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than you would get. We prefer it to anything from Costa's, Starbucks, anything.
Really? Yeah. I'll have to give that a go. I need to get a bean, like a grinder thing.
If honestly, give it a shot. It's seriously good coffee. Yeah.
Excellent. Right, last serious questions.
Okay.
So, if you could give one bit of advice to up-and-coming drummers, what would it be?
I would say, assuming you've got the enthusiasm for doing this, I would say to enjoy the process of getting better as a player and not get frustrated with how long it takes. Because I think sometimes it's easy to focus too much on the end goal and not enjoy the process along the way. And you should be enjoying the practice too. And as I say, I think sometimes it's easy to sort of be frustrated with where you are and seeing where you want to be, but assuming you put the time in, and we're all, for the most part, capable of doing that, just try and enjoy doing those small bits every day. I've got my John Riley book over there I've been working from. For the first time in years, I've dug that out, and I've never managed to get all the way through it. So I'm just getting through it. You know, I'm doing probably maybe 2 hours of practice a day, and I can feel the progress. You know, probably I would say 2 weeks ago, I was struggling to play a basic 5/4 swing, feel, and comp. And now I can freely comp in 5/4 and solo and keep the feet going. And I can do it 2 weeks ago. You know, I've been drumming for 35 years, and in the space of 2 weeks, I've made that progress, and it's great. So yeah, enjoy the process of becoming a better player.
You know what? I really love that answer, because I've done quite a lot of these and I've not had that answer, and that's so true. Because yeah, so many, especially my adult students, get really annoyed and frustrated with, oh, I can't do it. You know, oh, I want to be able to play this song. When do you think I'm going to be able to do it? You know, it's always like that question. When can we do it? But yeah, like enjoying the process of learning it and getting better. Yeah, totally. Just
it's that incremental thing. I can do this bit today, and just that, and I'm the same. You know, I have those pages of 5/4 things, and there are tons of them. But I think I'm just going to get down these 5 today, and I keep going back around them, and I sit down the following day. I can play all 5 straight away, and as opposed to try and doing 10 pages worth where I've gotten nowhere. And so it's just that gradual incremental thing, and you soak it up. Your brain assimilates it, and you can do it. Yeah.
So Pete, thank you so much for spending your time with us here today at DrumWise. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. All the best and stay safe.
Cool. Thanks, Tom. It's been a pleasure too.